Hi, and welcome to another episode of Future Journalism Today Live. Today we have a very special guest from Germany, Hamburg, and it's Marlene Borchardt, and my fellow co-host Will. Hi, Marlene, it's so great to have you on the show. And my co-host Nadine will introduce her in a few moments, but I first want to take this opportunity to say hi, wherever you're watching, whenever, because it doesn't have to be live, obviously. We would really like to know you, the viewer, who you are, where you are watching from, and we want you to participate. So please do ask your questions via the live chat. Oh, it's that way, and feel free to ask or comment or add to what Marlene is talking about today. And we would love to have your opinion, your additions, your questions. So please do put them in the live chat. But without any further ado, I would like to wish you a very happy show, a very thoughtful and innovative learning experience. But let me hand it over to Nadine, who will be telling you what to expect in this episode.
Yes, hello everyone. Really happy to be back again with a new live stream with an amazing guest. Hello, Marlene. It's so great to see you again. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm really excited.
Yes, we are as well, because we are really curious what you have to say about audience development on a very hands-on basis and on a regional basis as well. I'm going to introduce you in a minute and tell everybody a little bit more about what you are doing in your day-to-day life in a newsroom or in a development area, actually, at HHLab. But first of all, before we're going to introduce Marlene properly, let's talk about what we are going to do today on the show. So, of course, as usual, we have a small part of an introduction telling everyone what Marlene is doing. Afterwards, you will show us a tool that you really like to use as a journalist. So we have the infamous unboxing, as usual. Afterwards, we are going to ask you for your advice. In our section Stop with Journalists, and you are going to tell us what journalists should stop and what they should actually do instead, what's going to help them even more. And lastly, we are going to have our live Q&A. So as Lawrence already mentioned beforehand, everybody joining us today, please feel free to ask plenty of questions. I'm sure Marlene is very happy to answer all of them. And we are, of course, happy to answer them as well if we can. So, Marlene, again, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. It's wonderful to have you. And without further ado, let me introduce you to all of the viewers. So obviously, this on the picture is Marlene as well, Marlene Borchardt, who works as an expert for audience development in the research and development unit of NOZ Digital. On top, you're a consultant at HHLab C, or C in German, as we would say it actually. So this means basically that you are, for example, conducting workshops and you're working on new ideas for digital journalism. You're leading projects, for example, and you're trying to find new approaches to regional journalism. So in the more rural areas in Germany, especially in the northern of Germany. You're actually at the interface of theory and of practical implementation, which is super interesting because, as I said before, you're one of the people being very hands-on with audience development and really trying to implement it into the life of editors in northern Germany. Before that, you were responsible for social media formats at Bento. And as a small disclaimer, this is where we used to be colleagues, actually. Yeah. So Marlene and I know each other for quite a bit of time. But you've been in the social team and I've been in the news team. But still, I mean, I think we can't deny that, we had to work together, of course. And before that, you've been a volunteer at Hamburger Morgenpost. So you've been working in boulevard journalism as well in a more regional space too. That's everything I just told you before. So as I said, you've been at Bento from Der Spiegel, maybe that's worth to say as well, and at Hamburger Morgenpost. And one buzzword that we have been talking about earlier on was HHLab, where Marlene is working as well. And maybe there are some of you wondering, okay, what is this HHLab and what are they talking about? So I thought maybe it would be a good idea to tell a little bit about HHLab because it's very special in Germany as well. So HHLab is part of NOZ Digital and MHN Media, right, Marlene?
Yeah, we belong to NOZ Digital, and NOZ Digital belongs to MHN and NOZ Media.
Yeah, that's you have to say it very clear so everybody knows what we are referring to. So you are basically based in Hamburg. You are, as I mentioned before, a digital research and development unit of NOZ and MHN Publishing Group. And why the name HHLab? Everybody might be wondering, okay, why did they choose to call it HHH? Well, actually, because the license plate in Hamburg is called HHH, and because you're based in Hamburg, it made sense to use this part of your identity for your name as well. So, as I said before, this is how the license plates in Germany are looking like, and yeah, HHH stands for Hamburg. You're working with various editorial teams at both of those groups we were just talking to, developing new formats and products together with your colleagues. You have a total of 44 editorial offices in Lower Saxony, Mecklenburg, Western Pomerania, Hamburg, and Schleswig-Holstein. And as I mentioned before, you do have a consulting agency called HHLab C, where you are advising on product improvements and paid content, for example, as well. In general, you are 13 people, and not only journalists, right? It's like developers, designers, UX experts. So a lot of people with different backgrounds, actually, to provide people with relevant information from a regional perspective. Your colleagues and you are developing, for example, prototypes and MVPs. You're experimenting with machine learning and all of the interesting stuff we're all, as I said, interested in, but that most of the time doesn't really get the attention that it should in newsrooms. So very interesting. Plus, HHLab is one of the only regional labs trying to work with new media innovation and trying to implement it to newsrooms. So yeah, that's everything about HHLab that the viewers need to know. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about HHLab as well. Marlene, on your LinkedIn profile, now up to you. On your LinkedIn profile, you say you're passionate about reaching audiences, you're passionate about good stories and valuable content. You love long or short reads, video or in plays. You love agile methods and project management. Why did you decide to leave the classic editorial space, for example, the social media editorial space, and instead help others with implementing innovation in their work?
Yeah. When I was at Bento with you, I also did my master's, like part-time studies in digital journalism. So there I learned like everything about, I don't know, about design sprints, about product thinking. And then I saw the job at the HHLab, and it was like, okay, you have the opportunity to really build something up with a great team from scratch, or as a part of a team, obviously, because we don't have a hierarchy, right? Like we have my boss, Joachim Dreikloff, who is, but the rest of the team is, there is no hierarchy. So I thought this just sounds like fun and really exciting. And I also saw like a super like learning opportunity for myself, so that I could really use what I've been studying outside the university, but still in this lab situation where we are able to try a lot of things that might not be tried if you're like in a newsroom, because maybe then sometimes it's harder. Like,
yeah, because Marlene and Nadine, please tell me if you don't want to go there already. But Marlene, I was just wondering, can you tell me about how the process looks at the HH labs, HHLabs labs? How do you work? Please explain.
Yeah, we have three things that we do. We do research, which is also user research, but also research about methods like agile methods. So we try them, or we try new tools and see how we can implement them in the company, and also if also this. And then we also have the development, like the product development, where we really where we try, where we have an idea, we do a prototype, and then an MVP, like a minimal viable product. So something that is very small but does its job, so that everyone knows what this thing would want from you. And then we have the consultancy, where we also go to other media outlets and share the knowledge that we've earned over the last couple of years. So, and then it's pretty new. You also said, you already said, that we have 44 content units, and we have at the NOZ Digital, we have paid content strategy team, and together with them, we teamed up, and now we are coaching the content units in a paid content toolbox, which is not it's basic stuff like, okay, be consistent, publish something in the morning, publish something throughout the day, and also how do you do SEO? How do you search engine?
SEO.
Yeah, Google it.
And so that's something that we do, and because our company is we still have print as well. So not everyone is a full trained online editor, but most are, but some are not. So that is a lot of what that we do.
Does it imply that a lot of your work is about educating other journalists, as you say, about maybe paid content could be a topic, or any other kinds of topics as well?
At the moment, it is definitely, and at the HHLab C, it is too. So this is something that is my daily business at the moment. But at other times, something is we do more, we might have more development projects. It really depends. So what I'm doing is, sometimes I'm thinking I cannot really tell you this is my job, because my title is expert audience development, but then it's only a small part of what I'm doing. So it is more the moment, for instance, on Wednesday I will together with my colleague Daniela, who is a storytelling expert, we will start a co-creation process about the topic cooking at home. So we invited 7 people that we recruited via our online our sites, our news sites, and we will start a kickoff and talk about, okay, why do you like cooking at home, or what do you hate? And together in 6 weeks we will develop a format about cooking at home. So this is also something that I'm doing, and that we will try out if it works or not. It's called co-creation. So doing something with people from outside and inside.
You're inviting the audience, and then ask them to, so if we were to report or give you a service about cooking at home, what would you like to have in that service, or as a product, what kind of features? So do they actually have to draw, or is it discussing, or is it looking at other examples? How does it work? Because I'm really intrigued, and it sounds really exciting.
Yeah, at first we will only get to know each other. I thought about everyone should bring something that they love about the kitchen and cooking at home, and everyone should bring something that they hate. I love spices, and I hate the daily routine. It sounds really mean, but I hate cooking for my kids every day. I don't want to do that. So that is something that annoys me. And I think looking at pain points, looking at something that's annoying is always a good thing for developing
So bring something you
Yeah.
love and bring something you hate, and
Yes.
and you get a discussion. That's a really it's a smart.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then we will do some interviews like afterwards, like for like half
Yep.
an hour. We will have a semi-structured thing where we will talk to the people, and in the end,
Yep.
we will meet for one day and do a design sprint in Hamburg, and hopefully develop a product or format.
So
We don't know yet.
That's
Marlene,
Wednesday.
that's Wednesday, right?
You want to join? Like,
Yeah.
hit me up.
Marlene, I mean, obviously, we all have to eat, but especially in this case, how did you come up with the idea? And in general, where do you find the creativity to find topics that are important for your audience?
Yeah, this was actually a really like a coincidence and a really good thing with my colleague Daniela as well, because she found a study that was saying like it was I'm sorry, I don't remember how many people, but it was a global study that she found why Corona made that we will like be cooking at home even more than before. It is, for instance, it is because we don't travel that much anymore. Like we don't like many people are still working remotely, so that is one reason. Another reason is some people are still like psychological reasons that you think like I really don't want to go to a restaurant at the moment. Like, of course, this is not like this doesn't count for everyone, but for some people. And so they talked to a lot of people, but they also talked to chefs from restaurants, and they said like their theory was, okay, if you really want to have a good business in the future, you should also think about cooking experiences at home. Like what you offer should be a whole experience in the restaurant, but also at home. And I really wanted to try out this co-creation thing. So this melted together, and then we do it like we have to pitch it. We have to pitch the idea in front of the whole team, and we need to find a third player. Like also you can pitch ideas by yourself, but you need 3 people. When you're 3 people, then you're allowed to try the idea for 6 weeks. So you test the theory that you have. In this case, it's a little harder because hard not, but it's not a real theory. It's more like we want to try out this process. So this is how we do it. So we, even if you have a really, really, really big idea, you just try to make it as small as you can, and then you are able to test your theory in like 5 or 6 weeks.
Yep.
And does it happen?
No, sorry, Nadine.
I think we're referring to the same thing, Lawrence, actually. So after the 6 weeks, how often does it happen that you have to kill your darlings?
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. It happens, and it's hard because like sometimes you really like you fall in love with an idea, and also sometimes you have a lot of fun doing it, and you think like, okay, maybe I just did it wrong, and it is a good idea after all, but that's something you shouldn't do. Like you should be really, really precise with the KPIs, like the that you set before. Like because otherwise I will talk about a project that went this way later, where we always thought, okay, now we try this idea on top and this idea, even though we didn't have the data. And that was very, very painful, and even more painful than letting go an idea after 6 weeks. But I also think it's hard sometimes because we are used to produce, as journalists, a lot of output, and also our society still works with a lot of output. Like you're really fleißig, I don't know the word. Eager, no.
Hardworking.
Hardworking. You're very hardworking when you have a lot of output, and sometimes the output is that you learn, okay, this is not the time, or this is not the idea, or the process was good but the idea was not, or maybe this doesn't this is no company fit. I mean, like, there are so many things that you can learn, but we also need to I don't know, we also need to to think about that this is a good thing too, or can be.
Yeah, and it's
Yep.
only a trial. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just want to recap for the viewers who just joined in, and please, if you're watching live right now, please do ask your questions, because we have Marlene Borchardt on the show, and she's amongst other things, amongst many things, she's an audience developer at HHLab in Hamburg, and you can ask her anything. But you just said the way you do innovation is you pitch to your team, which is a cross-functional team of developers, UX designers, journalists, all kinds of different specialists and expertise in your team. You pitch your idea to the rest of the team, but you need two sort of fellows who are into your idea. And if the rest of the team says, yeah, this is a good idea, like your cooking from home example you just told us about, then you get 6 weeks to experiment with that, to build a product, a prototype, minimum viable product. And you set certain KPIs, key performance indicators. So you can say after 6 weeks, did we meet these requirements, or did we met the sort of quality? Could be quantitative or qualitative, I presume, right?
Yes.
So you measure the impact.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of the times, like, the 6 weeks sometimes are too short for, like, they're too short for minimal viable product. That's like step 2 then, but they're not too short for a prototype, or they're not too short for doing interviews, like expert interviews. It depends on the topics. Some colleagues of mine, they're just doing something about like secret spots that everyone really like wants to go to but doesn't know. That's I was just that everyone doesn't know. And for instance, so the first round, they just checked, is the theory true that people do want this? And then they had the next step.
Exactly. Yeah. And then sometimes you have to kill your darlings after 6 weeks, or maybe a bit longer. But it's a very interesting process. Yeah.
Definitely. Marlene, I think you have some slides prepared for us, and another example you would like to talk about. Maybe you would like to share your screen so we can see who you are working with and what you've been doing before as well.
Yes.
Together with your colleagues.
Exactly. And let me just ask our viewers again, if you do have anything you would like to add, or a comment or a question to Marlene or about this topic, please share via the live chat. Oh, sorry, it's that way. And meanwhile, here is the thing that Marlene would like to show us. So please tell us about
can you see it?
This project.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
We can see it.
This was because we were just talking about painful farewells. This was Netzfeld, the project we started in 2019. On the left side is my colleague Sönke Schira, who's a product owner at the HHLab, and on the right side is Philipp Dudek, who's a product owner as well. And the idea of Netzfeld was to have a convention in the rural area of Germany, like in our area where we also where people read our news, about digitalization, because our theory was not only people in the urban areas want to talk about digitalization, but in the rural areas as well. So what we started was we did a really ugly flyer where we pretended that it was really, really ugly. There was a woman on the flyer with these goggles, these VR goggles.
Is there an image of the flyer in the slides, or
no? Unfortunately not. I forgot it. But she's standing
Yeah.
in the cornfield with this thing, and it's ridiculous. But we just asked people would you go there? Like, would this be interesting for you? Like, we went to other conventions in these areas and talked to the people. And we also talked to experts in this field. Like, we talked to people who who are doing development in the rural areas, for instance. And then we tried out 2 small conferences. One in Schleswig-Holstein about voluntary work and digitalization, and one in Mecklenburg-Vorpommern about economy and digitalization, and economy like being the German Mittelstand. So not the really huge companies, but the
SMEs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So we did this, and then we kind of it worked, and people really enjoyed the conferences, and we did as well. So we were really really digging this project, and then but there was no business model to it. Like the conferences, that wasn't enough, and then we just then Corona came, and then we tried to do it on our news sites with a small under page, like and we tried to do Corona Corona for companies, like Corona help for companies, like with marketing and everything from the rural areas, about digitalization, like getting help for these people. But that really didn't work, and we didn't have the data we don't, in the end, it was not smart that we did this. And this is like the mistakes. Like in the beginning, we mainly talked to enthusiasts. We were not able to let go from the project, even if the data suggested otherwise, or we didn't have the data. And the learnings are that when you start something, it's always good and important also to talk to people who maybe are not like, okay, I love your idea, but who also bring some criticism, because maybe they have good reasons, and maybe you can still learn something from it. And in the end, what we were talking about, kill your darlings, you should be able to let go of the project and use the KPI, and not don't fool yourself. Like,
I have a question, Marlene, about the first one, because I think it's a very insightful observation. Talk to resistors, as you've come to call them. Are they willing to talk about it? Because I can imagine, but that would be just my sort of intuition, that they might not want to talk because they think they might be cynical, or say, it's a bad idea. Please don't bother me with it. Don't spend my time, or something like that. So how did you sort of convince them to talk about why they think it's a bad idea?
Yeah, that's the point, because we really, like in this project, we really didn't, like, we only went to the people, like, and talked to the people who were already invested in these topics.
Exactly, yeah.
Which was great on the one hand, but it was also dangerous for the project or the success of the project, because they of course also have their agenda. They really want more key players on this field, because it's good for the topic. So so to talk to resistors, I think it always depends on the topic, what you're doing. Like, I think if you talk about journalism and you talk with journalists, I don't know about your experience, but then sometimes there is a lot of, but I don't think we need this, or I don't think this is necessary. So I think it depends. Sometimes some people are very open with criticism.
Yeah. You don't even have to ask. They're just sort of giving it to you. And about the other thing, you say use KPIs to avoid fooling yourself. I when I was reading through your website at hhlabs.de, I saw, and I've written a note down, you have a KPI master, because I can again imagine that some journalists might not want to go into indicators or metrics or analytics, but I think you've mentioned it quite a few times already, and you even have a KPI master on your team. Why is that so important?
Because, like, it is good to have someone like also from the outside, because sometimes when you are in your project team, then you can get really like you can get carried away because you just really enjoy what you're doing, or you just think it's a really good idea. And it might be true still, but if you have someone who's only doing the KPIs, who's only responsible for looking at the metrics, and really also saying like it is innovation and something new. It's not all creative. It's also structure. And so this structure, the KPI master is bringing this structure, as well as the product owner who's like owning the product. Like Philip was the product owner of this project. These people bring structure. They and it's important. Structure is important also
thank you.
in these processes.
So, Marlene, I would like to know, working on Netzfeld, what did you learn about your target group in a more rural area?
We learned definitely that there is like that people from the rural areas are really like engaged. Like also like there were a lot of people who were doing like volunteer work, like with the I don't know. Do you have this in other countries too, like Freiwillige Feuerwehr? Like
we have the same thing in the Netherlands. I think it's a voluntary firemen. Firefighters.
But also in Germany, like the Landfrauen, who are really like someone told us like, okay, they're really like bringing together the community, like the Landfrauen. They organize a lot of stuff for the villages and everything. And so they're really like engaged, and they're also really like they're really interested in these topics, and also in digital topics. And sometimes maybe that's something that that gets confused or forgotten. So it was a good reminder, and that's the sort of audience development that I'm doing at the moment, like really going to the people, talking to them, doing user profiles, doing interviews like about how do you use media and everything like that. So I think that's something that often comes too short when you are in a newsroom, because you simply don't have the time.
And what is the sentiment when you go, as you said, go out really into the field, into the rural areas, to ask them and to have them bring into for co-creation sessions or discussions? Because we read a lot about maybe different countries, maybe not Germany, that journalists are being met with a sort of with criticism or angry people, or that some people see the media and journalists as the enemy. How is that in your experience?
Yeah. Okay, because I only talk to people who want to talk to me, so that is that is a little different.
You don't come in unannounced into these villages or with these volunteers. No, okay, so that's a good thing.
I mean, when you're like somewhere, like I told you, like when we went to other conferences and just talked to the people and showed the flyer. Then people say, I don't want to do this, and just go on. But that's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes, of course, like when we do these interviews where we talk about how do you use media and why do you use it this way, and then sometimes most of the time not, but then sometimes people start criticizing. But then it's an interview where also this has space, because we just want to learn. We want to learn what is on the mind of the people at the moment.
So why do you think it's important that regional media outlets are focusing more on audience development and on media innovation?
Yeah, because the heart of what they are doing, like the news, the local news, they are still so wanted and needed in the rural areas, but also in the urban areas. Like local journalism is super important, and also like it's really like local journalists are also like still really close to their readers, like often. And if you look in other news, often there is local news, but just like with another spin or with a second level, or with you put it on a you took it one step
Pedestal.
further. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's the news and the closeness is really with these editors from the local news sites.
So you don't think local journalism is dead, to say
No.
it a little bit sloppy. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
no.
it's very interesting to hear that from you, because I mean, a lot of times bigger media outlets are in focus and everybody is looking at what they are doing and they are having great projects, and of course most of the time they have more personal capacities in terms of journalists and more money most of the time as well. But it's very interesting to hear from someone working in a more regional media outlet that it's just as important to keep going in these areas as well, and to develop new projects and new directions too. So that's why I was asking, a bit provocative as well.
Yeah, I think what we want to is we want to really show the reality of the people that are living in these areas or in these local areas, and it's really important for them to know what's going on in their neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, not everybody is living in cities as well. So, I mean, that's another point you, of course, have to have a look on too.
I heard something from a Dutch a data journalist who works for RTL News in the Netherlands, and he told me that he was on a team with it was part of a sort of automated journalism project, and so and he said that they sort of built a robot in a way, or automated the news when they gather data about crime, about traffic accidents, but also about elections. Then they can cover and create articles for every municipality in the Netherlands, or every municipality. And what happened is, based on these sort of automated articles, then people were able to hold their local leaders to account, and some questions were being raised for local governments at hearings or stuff like that. And he said, well, the data is already there, but no one puts it into a story, into the hands of local reporters or even local citizens. So it helped them because they're a national newsroom. Yeah. But they said, we also provide this to help local reporters. How do you feel about projects like that? Because I think we all see the positive note, but because here it's also part of an automated journalism. I know you do things with machine learning, which Nadine said in the intro. Can you elaborate a bit more on how you see those kind of developments?
Yeah, like the machine learning project, I'm not in it or on it. It's my my colleagues who are doing this. But I think, and that's also why I think that the work of the HHLab is super cool, and other outlets who are doing something like this, or innovation in media in general, because it's not about taking a job or something like that, but it's about making it easier, or making giving you some things, or like you just said, now they can use the data and don't have to be the full data analyst.
Yeah, someone has to get the phone, I think, to pick up the phone. But yeah, so if we can recap, so people can actually use the data, you mean, by now. Yes, so it makes it easier to use these new kinds of technologies, like automated journalism or template journalism or machine learning. Yeah.
Yes, for instance, I think the work that we are doing is also something to serve the journalists at our company, to give something that's easier, or to bring new tools, new ideas, new I hate the word, but a new mindset, which makes work easier.
Yeah,
and not harder.
Yeah. So, I had another question, but Nadine has one as well, so Nadine may go first. please.
Yeah, now that the bell is out, I think I can ask my question as well. So Marlene, I was wondering if other newsrooms in Germany, especially regional media outlets, have been reaching out to you, asking you about your work, and maybe if they are trying to not copy it, but they are trying to learn from you as well, not only concerning your consulting agency, but in general, has there been any contact to other newsrooms as well?
Yeah, totally. Like it's like there are, of course, there are people who are doing similar things, and then this is like a network where you just talk to the people and just like exchange stuff. And then there are also like other media outlets who have questions, or that we meet up with. That's also how the idea of like Joachim Dreikloff, my boss, had the idea for HHLab came around. Okay, we learned a lot, and also like there is obviously a need to
share your knowledge.
Share knowledge.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. About that, maybe it sort of connects with this last question by Nadine, because, and I have to look at my notes again. At your website, so hhlab.de, I found this line and I translated it into English. As a digital research and development unit of the NOZ, we work every day to design information in such a way that it fits into people's realities. Incremental innovation and disruptive ideas, we have room for both.
Yeah.
And I thought this is insightful because this is based on experience. Could you tell us a bit about the distinction between these, and why you make this distinction between these two? So incremental innovation and disruptive ideas.
Yeah, because incremental innovation is always about like making something better or easier that you're already doing. Like, so that is very, very close to our business as journalists. So, and the disruptive innovation is something that, and also incremental innovation, you can, you have tools to do this. Like you can do a design sprint. You can use the lean startup method with like build, measure, learn, and all this stuff, like these agile methods. And then there is a disruptive innovation, which really destroys a market. Like that's why it's and that's something that's not as plannable. Like you can't really plan it, or maybe someone can, and then please reach out to me and tell me how, because I don't know.
But you say we have room for both. So sometimes you go and work on a product that might be very disruptive, you mean?
Yeah. Like sometimes, like it's something that we or it's something that could lead to it. Like it's like the sentence is like we are not doing only incremental. We are open to disruptive, but I cannot say that we have done disruptive innovation so far. So but still, it's also like something. If you don't do, like there are innovation horizons 1, 2, and 3, and if you like, number 1 is like, okay, you do your daily business. Number 2 is like, okay, you do your daily business, but you also like maybe you add new business models on your channels, or you do product thinking, or you have like something like that. And number 3 is like something that is not imaginable. But if you don't do 1, like your company will just die. If you don't do 2, it will die too, because like 2 is getting to 1. Like you have a new idea, and then it's like it's getting normal, and then it's number 1. And if you don't do number 1 and number 2, then you will never reach number 3. That's the theory.
And this model is called, again, I'm sorry?
Innovation horizons.
Innovation horizons, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's totally fine. And about these innovation horizons, and I'm looking at Nadine here as well, and looking at the time as well, because we, besides the segment where viewers can ask their live questions. So please do, if you have any questions, please do put them in the live chat. And also, if you don't have any questions, just say hi, say who you are, where you're from. We would like to know who's watching. But maybe it's about time, Nadine, that we go into the unboxing, or your favorite tool, Marlene, and then I always show this small little banner.
Absolutely.
And then Marlene can share her screen again. I hope it will work again. And we'll look at your favorite tool. And you've just shown us just before we started, and I think we're about to see it right now. So please do, Marlene, tell us what you're about to show us.
So this is a template of the team canvas opened in Miro, which is like one of these tools where you can collaborate together. And this is something that also my colleague Daniela brought to us to the HHLab. And I think it was the best idea of her, because with the team canvas, you really sit together as a team. It takes approximately 2 hours. And okay, you talk about, people and roles. That's pretty easy. Like, who's working in your team? What are they doing? Then it's, for instance, goals. So what do we want to achieve? What is our key goals? Someone platform MVP. Like, this is just an example, right? Like, from the template, I just used this one because I couldn't share our team canvas because it's very personal as well. I will show you later. And then values. So what do we stand for? What are our principles? And so these people say, okay, we want to be really direct. We want to have a really speed. We want to be crazy with ideas, community, customer centricity. And why do I think that this is such a great thing? Because if you are a new team, you really need to find answers to these questions, and these questions are really important to work together. To work.
And this is a team working in a existing news organization, or could be a startup, a journalistic startup as well, or any kind of team.
Any kind of team, yeah. You can also, like I just read that, you can also, for instance, if you are a project team with 3 or 4 people, you could also do this. Like, okay, we're not a team forever, but we want to do this, and then you do the fast thing, which only takes half an hour, and yeah, the big thing takes 2 hours, and like, this is also really great. Like, okay, how do we want to work together? Someone says, like, okay, crying Tuesday, so let's be really open at work. I want to share my emotions because I'm a human. Real life struggles, and I think this one is really good. No meeting Friday. Also, what is really needs and expectations. So what do I need to be successful? What do I need from my team to work in a good way, or in a maybe healthy way for me? And also personal goals. So you can say, yes, I work here for these goals. Like, we want to do this, but I really want to find an effective management approach, or understand how people listen to podcasts. So this is my personal goal. And that goal doesn't really matter if it fits into these. It's just my personal goal.
Okay.
And also this, the last one, because you're talking also about weaknesses. And that's really great. If I know that Laura is too direct, I'm not going to cry if she's really mean to me. But so I think this is good. And the last one, sorry, I already said that, but this is the last one, really, the purpose. So why are we doing what we are doing? And if you have an answer to this, then your work life gets really easy, I think. So why are we doing what we do? And I brought HHLab's purpose.
Okay, so
can anyone use this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You can just get it at teamcanvas.com. I think it's .com.
Yeah, I'll put it in the live chat. And this is where you start. And how much time does it normally take to fill this out with the team? Because I can imagine you have to be live and putting your post-its together in sync, right?
Yeah, but you could also do it with the Miro. You could also use this. Oops. This is the link. it takes 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah.
2 hours.
And
Okay.
Marlene, I was wondering if there are only certain aspects being shared with all of the team, and for example, the personal department is only for your view, or do you share everything with everyone?
Yeah, you share everything with everyone. So you also
Okay.
you can only do it if you work in a trustful environment, and you can only. But I would also I think also the whole innovation, the whole we're trying something new, the whole change stuff. All of this should be an environment where you can make mistakes and where you feel that you can trust the people around you.
So a plaidoyer to be more vulnerable for everyone at work as well.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. Other people would say, oh, no.
Yeah, they are maybe not feeling as comfortable, but in your case, it seems to be working great. So thank you very much for showing your tool.
Yep.
Super interesting. I haven't seen anything like this before. Did you, Lawrence?
No, I know a lot of canvases, but not this as the team canvas. And it seems really, really practical in the way you sort of walked us through. I think every team, well, regardless of what industry or kind of purpose they have, they could use this. So it seems very practical.
Definitely.
And with that being said, I was looking at the live chat, but there are no questions at this point. So maybe it's time to go into your advice, and that's what we normally call something where you say journalists should stop do this, but then we turn it into a positive note. So that's the stop it journalist segment of the show. Marlene, what's your piece of advice?
Yeah, I think I even wrote it down before. I have some
Very good.
notes.
Very good. Yeah. Great.
I wrote down. I think we should stop thinking that there is a recipe for digital transformation. Okay,
Yeah.
now everyone should do newsletters, and that's the answer. Everyone should have this product called newsletter, and then everyone is fine. And because there are many people successful with newsletters, that's our answer. But I love newsletters. It's just an example, because that's what everyone is looking for. Okay, how
So
can
stop looking for the recipe. You
just
mean?
stop
Yeah.
looking for the recipe and
Good
start
one. Yeah.
start experimenting. And that's and I think that's something in my when I did the research for my master thesis, I read a very smart sentence that was okay. No, I didn't write it. I read it.
Okay.
I hope I wrote some too. But no, it was that carving out time for doing innovation or experimenting could be the vital act of innovation itself. So, and I think that is very important for newsrooms because they have so much to do and such an important job. So I think it would be great if they could get some time, and if they have a theory, for instance, my users really want to read about the local birds and why there are less or more or whatever, then they should try to break this down and try to test if this theory is right. And I think I think that would be great, and I also could imagine that it would be it would be fulfilling. The example might be stupid, but whatever example it is that you are interested in.
Yep.
So being less reactive and less looking after trends from others, and just starting to explore yourself what your audience and your target group is interested in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Often we are wrong, and sometimes we are right, and that's
And I remember that.
Darlings.
Yeah.
I remember, Nadine, that Patrick Weinhold from Tagesschau gave us this, I think, a similar advice. That people ask me for the recipe for how they do TikTok with Tagesschau, and he said there is no recipe. You should I don't know if he said you should experiment, but he said, well, there are a couple of things you could take into account. Like maybe, Marlene, what you say is that you have to use KPIs that bring structure to the project, right? And you have to set a limited amount of time, and you have to experiment. And I think those are, say, sort of guidelines or criteria, but it's not a recipe for if you want to bake a great, cake and strawberry icing. I don't know.
Yeah.
where we are again, like the circle is closing because we started with a cooking project.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just really
And
love food.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really relatable, Marlene.
Yeah. And Marlene, is there something which we didn't cover, discuss, or asked you, which you would say, because I know you've written down some notes. Maybe there's something on which we didn't cover yet, or didn't touch on. No. Then I would say, what's the best way if viewers, maybe because they might be hesitant now to ask you a question, but if they maybe tonight or in 2 weeks' time they think about, Marlene said something, I should ask her, not about the recipe, but where can people find you online? How do they approach you?
Yeah, they can send me an email or via LinkedIn or Instagram.
Okay.
Or yeah.
So if they look for Marlene Borchardt, they will find you online.
Yeah.
So thank you, Marlene, for being our very special guest, and thank you, dear viewer, for joining us live today or watching this whenever you're watching, on which kind of device. It doesn't really matter. I hope that Marlene has been able to tell her how she has worked and how that might inspire you, using the team canvas, using the pieces of advice and the way she approaches maybe user research, how and what not to do, how to talk to resistors, for example. So I think it's a lot to take away for us viewers. So thank you very much, Marlene. Nadine?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Marlene, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. It was super interesting to get all of your insights about HHLab and how you are working. And as I mentioned before, not only talking about audience development, but really implementing it into reality. Just a small hint for everybody who would like to follow Marlene. You can go ahead and look for her, for example, on Twitter. And Lawrence and I have posted some LinkedIn posts as well, plus Marlene too.
Yeah.
So if you would like to reach out to her, you can go ahead and check her out on LinkedIn, for example, or on Twitter, or on Instagram, depending on which platform you prefer.
And how you want to slide, right? Yeah.
How you want to slide into the DMs. That's right.
So thank you once again, Marlene, and for our viewers, and you're invited as well, Marlene. Please, our next live show will be on December 6th. It will be a Monday night again, and Ezra Eman will be our guest. He is from Mediahuis in Netherlands and Belgium, Flanders. So be sure to check out that show as well. But that's December. For now, thank you very much. Thank you for watching, and see you next month.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Marlene. It was great to have you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.